thedailymass.com. Experience the Roman Catholic Mass from historic St. Louis Cathedral every day on thedailymass.com. His love, anywhere in the world.
Good evening, I'm Sarah McDonald.
And I'm Jason Angelette. Welcome to Issues in Faith.
And a very blessed Easter to all of our viewers as we are celebrating the Easter octave. It's a beautiful time to rejoice in our faith and celebrate the resurrection of our Lord.
It's so important. Like, we spend that time during Lent to really just to sacrifice, to pray, to fast, and all that. And obviously we continue to do that throughout the year, but just to really dive into that season, and it helps us to really come alive more, I think, and take advantage of the joys that Easter Sunday and the Easter season provides.
That's right, and this season goes for 50 days till Pentecost.
I know, amazing season.
So half of the year, or a quarter of the year.
Right, exactly.
But we are also in the octave of Easter, which will conclude on Sunday as Divine Mercy Sunday.
Yes.
We're in the midst of that novena for many of our viewers, I'm sure, are participating in that. And this year, the Divine Mercy Sunday takes on a very special meaning for the global Catholic Church, as Pope Francis will canonize both Pope John the 23rd and Blessed Pope John Paul II.
Yeah, so excited. I mean, I unfortunately, I know more. Well, let's say, I wish I knew as much as on John 23rd as I did on John Paul II. John Paul II, obviously, because that's our generation. That's, we were, for me, I was born, it was John Paul II. And so for a long part of my life, it was John Paul II as the Pope. Unfortunately, about that, I didn't really appreciate and really understand. I didn't turn to my faith really until much later on. So it wasn't until the end of his life that I really began to become aware of his work, his writings, his life, and absolutely changed my life. And I'm just so indebted to his pontificate, to his yes to the Lord, and so it is a glorious, joyful time this weekend to celebrate. Now it's going to be Saint John Paul II, who just has done so much, and to speak to the youth, and to speak to the hearts, and to speak to the culture that is showing so many lies and signs of death, and bringing truth and love and happiness. And I'm very excited.
Well, it is very exciting because, as you said, same for me. I was born as John Paul II, and I remember when he died, the pastor at my church saying, how many of you, I forget how old I was at the time, but how many of you are below this age? The world's not ending because the Pope died, because it had just been so long that we've had two since. And which seems like such a short period of time for us.
I know, exactly.
But I've been doing a lot of reading this week about both JP2 and John the 23rd, and what I find most interesting as I'm reading, obviously their holiness and their spirituality is so important, but John the 23rd was a character. Yeah. He was kind of a jokester, and it's fun, and because we all know too that John Paul II had that very fun-loving side, that artistic side. And so seeing not only their spirituality and their holiness and what they were able to accomplish through the teaching and the theology of the church, but also through their humanity, things that you can relate to, is just really amazing.
They're such real people, right? I mean, Jason Everett just wrote a book on Saint John Paul the Great, and he talked about one of the things he was talking about, just how a real guy he was. He was kind of joking about himself. He said, praying is supposed to be like singing. It's supposed to be like praying twice. He's like, but when I sing, I think I just pray once. So it's just but he also too, if you study his life and his, what was beautiful for me too, learning about because my mom passed away at a very early age, and his mom passed away at a very early age, and as soon as he heard that, he runs the chapel to his local church parish, and he goes before the statue of the Blessed Mother and says, well, now you're going to be my mother. And it's just, there's so many things of his life that his love for theater and his writings, his playwrights. The Jeweler Shop was an amazing play on marriage, and it's amazing how much he was able to capture the dynamism and the struggles and the challenges and the beauty of marriage in this one little play, and just so much. And so it's just, it's still to this day going back and trying to learn more in his writings. And now I think this is an opportunity with the canonization of not only St. John Paul II, but John the 23rd, to look at John the 23rd's life and his writings and his contributions to the church. And I think it's a call for all of us, to the whole church, to say, hey guys, don't forget, look at what we're doing here. Look at what they did for the church, and how can we grow and learn and take advantage of the great blessing that the Lord gave to us in the church through these two people.
Definitely, and we want to let our viewers know too that the canonization will be broadcast live at 3 a.m. On Catholic TV, which is WLAE 32.3 if you have a digital channel. It's also on Charter Cable 191. I'm referencing my notes. But we will also rebroadcast it here on WLAE at 7 p.m. on Sunday. And right immediately before that, we'll be airing Shepherd in the City, which is a documentary about Pope John Paul II's life. Visit here to New Orleans. So we will be celebrating that.
Speaking of that visit, I want to encourage our viewers to, I remember when I was little and the Pope came to New Orleans, I remember just kind of it was some random part of the day, kind of like my mom or dad, my stepmom or my dad stopping me and saying, hey, come look at this on television, And it was just, for some reason, I remember that. I remember looking at the television and seeing him on there, and so just to kind of let's make this opportunity that kind of stop during the day and recognize to your children and kind of highlight that particular gift that we have and let them be a part of that. Remember that,
Definitely. Well, I think this is a very exciting time for our church. You can tell whenever Rome has to actually redo roads and build more infrastructure, is they're expecting about 3 million people.
Oh, wow. I wish I was there.
Yes, it's a special time. And the amount of media coverage this will get just really speaks to the contributions of the Catholic Church and these particular men.
I think with John Paul II, when he died, I think that was one of the most widely televised, watched thing on television ever. He is the most, he drew in the biggest, largest crowd ever in the world, for one particular person to draw in so many people. It's amazing. It
is. And tonight we have a special show for our viewers. We're going to be recapping some of our favorite packages throughout the years as part of our Easter gift to our viewers.
Yeah.
And as Christians around the world commemorate the death and celebration of the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ, in many Jewish homes, the celebration is focused on the Passover, with a special meal called the Seder. They remember God's deliverance of Israel from slavery and the night when he spared their firstborn from the plague of death as he passed over their homes. Some area Catholic churches put on a Seder to help us understand the tradition. Janet Gross takes us to the meal at St. Bernard Catholic Church.
Blessed art thou, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has kept us alive and sustained us and brought us to this season.
The word Seder in Hebrew means order, and this ritual feast follows a specific order, with special foods and wine and readings, all meant to remind those in attendance of God's deliverance.
Seder meal help us to remember the time that the Lord have called his people out from Egypt and to go to the promised land. This day of the feast of the unleavened bread, the time of our freedom, an example, a day of holiness, a memorial of the exodus from Egypt.
We hope that whoever comes, they have a good meal and maybe they learn a little something.
It's meant as a learning experience, not exactly as it might be done in a Jewish home, but the hope is to give those who come here a sample, an idea of the ritual with its roots in Exodus.
The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month will stand at the head of your calendar. You will reckon it the first month of the year."
The ladies who organized, prepared, and served the meal participate with an attitude of reverence, knowing that remembering God's deliverance is fundamental to our faith, so they've tried to follow the recipes and traditions.
We do the lamb, we do the matzah, We do the wine that is the kosher wine, a fruit salad that's made a certain way. So we try to do as close as we can to the recipes that are for this service.
Behold, this is the bread of affliction, which our fathers ate in the land of Egypt. All who are hungry, let them come and eat. All who are in need, let them come and celebrate this Passover with us.
On all other nights, we eat without special festivities. Why on this night do we hold this Passover service?
They follow a script as they try to follow the traditions.
Blessed art thou, O Lord our God, King of the universe,
who has sanctified us by thy commandments, and has commanded us concerning the eating of bitter herbs.
And while this may not be a Catholic tradition, it is a remembrance of our shared history and a reminder of the promise and deliverance God has provided for us all. I'm Janet Gross for Issues and Faith.
St. Bernard Catholic Church began putting on a Seder meal in 1998. With just a few years break after Katrina, they are continuing the tradition. And we'll be right back.
What will the world ask of them? Whatever it is, they'll be prepared to answer. Because in a safe and disciplined environment, Louisiana Catholic schools shape tomorrow's leaders. Catholic students are rising. 99% graduate. Almost all go to college. They'll earn higher wages, be community involved, more tolerant of diverse views. And the world will be better because of them. Louisiana Catholic schools, in a class of their own.
150 years ago, America was torn apart by a bloody civil war. Hundreds of thousands died. 4 million enslaved people were freed, and the Union was preserved. But the struggle for civil rights, equality, and human dignity continues. America's national parks tell the story of the Civil War and the Civil Rights Movement. The dream endures. To learn more, visit your national parks.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jan Lancaster, the Superintendent of Catholic Schools for the Archdiocese of New Orleans. Join me Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. right here on LAE for Our Schools, Our Future, a new television program sharing the good news of Catholic education in our area. Each month, Our Schools, Our Future will feature topics of importance in Catholic education and highlight the special accomplishments of our area's schools and their students. We're sharing the good news of Catholic education on Our Schools, Our Future, Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. on LAE, More Than Television.
And welcome back. Well, he was outspoken, feisty, and fierce in his determination to uplift people, no matter who they were, from national figures to the poorest of the poor. Archbishop Philip Hannon ministered to everyone equally. And when he came to New Orleans in 1965, it was a perfect match. And now, even though he's gone, his life is still making its mark, as Karen Boudry reports.
The rest of final success or failure was our call.
Whether you knew him or simply knew of him, Archbishop Philip Hannon seemed to touch everyone in the New Orleans area. Revered by Catholics and non-Catholics alike, he found a purpose in simply loving and taking care of people, all people.
His purpose made our community a better place. He brought the Vietnamese here. He relocated them in this area. He made them a very integral part of our community. He did so many things for us. He brought the elderly into focus, the poor into focus.
It's hard to believe that it's been 2 years since his passing, but it's taken that long to prepare what some are calling an extraordinary tribute to an extraordinary man in a new exhibition at the old Ursuline Convent.
But the collection itself is a reflection of who the man was, who he was as a priest, who he was as a chaplain, who he was as a member of the 82nd Airborne, who he was as bishop and the writer of the eulogy for John F. Kennedy's funeral, who he was as Archbishop here, and then who he was in retirement.
Archbishop Hannon's life in pictures, mementos, and even his own words. Some 10,000 pieces of memorabilia were donated by his family and then organized into the various stages of his life. From World War II to Katrina, his own words describe the horror and yet the hope he found in each and every struggle. Those who were close to him, like Clara Satanovich, were moved to see how it all came together.
I think this is a great tribute to the absolutely great man, the greatest man I ever met in my life. We became very close friends. We befriended in early 1990s when there was war going in my homeland of Croatia. And he supported Croatian fight for freedom of religion, freedom of speech and everything.
His combat boots, his vestments and chalice, even his personal scrapbooks and letters home from World War II are here. In addition, there are never-before displayed photos from his personal collection from childhood and early family life that add perspective to this remarkable man.
Archbishop Hannon, whom I consider not only such a great legend, but such a wonderful spiritual man who led our community many, many years and through some tumultuous times. I'd like to also tell you that personally it's an excitement because I was the last priest who was ordained by Archbishop Hannon back in 1988.
But for those who never knew him, such as many of today's school students, it's hoped that by reading his letters and journals, which have been scanned into interactive iPads, they too will learn of the Archbishop's tremendous legacy and the life of a man who has forever left his mark on New Orleans. For Issues in Faith, I'm Karen Boudry.
The exhibition is on display at the Old Ursuline Convent Museum, the oldest building in the Mississippi River Valley, and is located on Charter Street in the French Quarter.
Students at one local Catholic high school are out to help change the world by starting here at home. This school year, every one of the students at De La Salle have read the same book and are using it as a springboard for social justice. Janet Gross has the story.
How do you think New Orleans' crime situation kind of got to the point where I guess crime was so rampant?
This is no ordinary lecture or classroom assignment. The three heavy hitters in front of this group of De La Salle students are here to help. The U.S. Attorney, the New Orleans DA, the head of the Metropolitan Crime Commission are all De La Salle alums.
Love the sinner, hate the sin.
Every De La Salle student, parents, staff, even the guests, read the book Tattoos on the Heart by Father Gregory Boyle. Set in California, it's about a mission to get kids out of gangs, off the streets, and into jobs. It's about compassion, peacemaking, and nonviolence, and it's a part of each class syllabus here.
I think it makes us more aware. It makes us more aware to maybe intolerances, whether it's bullying someone because of their race, religion, sexual orientation, things like that. It just makes me a lot more conscious of things. You know, what can I do to change someone's life for the better? What can I do to change my life for the better?
And that's what they're talking about, a push for social justice, the issues, the needs, the opportunities.
Providing jobs that provide them with the opportunity to improve themselves, gain some self-worth, gain some hard skills, and ultimately leads them out of a way of violence.
Education is the key. They're not going to graduate necessarily from a De La Salle or some other Catholic high school, but if you can just get them a GED, just get them that, they don't come back into the criminal justice system. The statistics overwhelmingly support that. What I would love to see people like you getting involved with is tutoring young men and women.
Organizations all over town that are directed at helping various at-risk components. So you can do a little research, call up those organizations and ask for the opportunity to volunteer.
They're getting ideas, inspiration from those who walk the path they're on now.
We have some ideas on how we can implement this project into the world, and we're very excited about that.
For example, I'm looking into setting up some buildings for teens to go and just have relief from their everyday struggles, which will hopefully keep gang violence off of the streets.
I really hope that there's a sense of urgency to respond to the need of peacemaking and nonviolence on a personal level, in their families, in our school, and in a community, wider community.
Apparently, it's working.
April 12th, they're planning a march against violence here in De La Salle. They're planning to march over to Notre Dame Seminary, where they're going to have guest speakers, and it's going to be a student-led march, which we haven't seen in this community in years.
All because of a common goal, a common read, and a shared sense of spiritual and social responsibility. I'm Janet Gross for Issues and Faith.
This is the first year they've done this at De La Salle, but right now, even as they are busy with awareness events and volunteerism, the students and staff are deciding on which book to pick for their common read this summer. And we'll be right back.
I needed help finding a doctor.
PACE.
I needed help with my medication.
PACE.
I needed help getting around.
The Shirley Landry Benson PACE Center is a place that helps seniors remain in their homes, providing the care they need. If you or a family member are over 55 years old, you may be eligible for benefits offered by PACE. For more information, contact us at 504-835-0006. PACE, caring for those who cared for us.
The grief and loss resulting from an abortion can be overwhelming. Many women and men need a safe place to heal. The Woman's New Life Center is that place. We treat each woman and man with the utmost respect and dignity. We offer individual counseling and referrals to post-abortion retreats that offer a psychological and spiritual approach to healing. Call 504-831-3117 or visit womansnewlife.com.
Hello, I'm Jeff Cruaire. Join me on Thursday, May 8th for the first annual Ringside Roast at the Eiffel Society, where we are going to honor Jefferson Parish President John Young and have some fun at his expense. It's all for a good cause, WLAE-TV. For more information about our roasters, sponsorship, and tickets, visit ringsideroast.com or call 504-669-6076. We'll see you on May 8th.
For many aging seniors, being able to live at home, to be with family is so important, but it's often difficult for families to manage on their own. In 2007, with assistance from the Archdiocese and Catholic Charities, a new program came to New Orleans to help with that. And now that program is spreading to the West Bank. Janet Gross has the story of the new PACE Center coming to Hope Haven.
We do this groundbreaking to the glory of God and in the spirit of John Bosco and Monsignor Weinhoven and all those who have worked with him.
It's really a symbolic groundbreaking. The building already stands, just waiting for a new purpose. Built 72 years ago on the grounds of Hope Haven, St. John Bosco Chapel was there for thousands of young people who needed a physical and spiritual home. Times changed, the programs ended, and now a different need will be met here.
It has a historic presence, it has a beautiful feeling to it, it has a spiritual component to it, all the things that make it a wonderful atmosphere for seniors when they're in their later years.
This will be the home for PACE, a program for all-inclusive care for the elderly. It's an adult day health center with basic nursing and socialization.
The adults are going to have anything from playing games, from dealing with computers, educational stuff, and stuff that keeps them active. And a lot of the things that I hear from our current participants is how it just gives them a new sense of life, to have new friends, to have people that can relate to each other, and just you feel like you're going to hang out with your friends versus just staying at home.
The $1.6 million renovations will change the inside of St. John Bosco Chapel, but not the name.
Because St. John Bosco is the patron of the young. It is very clear when you read about John Bosco and his care for the young, he always taught them with great enthusiasm to respect their elders.
The Archdiocese donated the buildings just as it did with St. Cecilia's in the Bywater. That's the original PACE location in New Orleans, the Shirley Landry Benson PACE Center. Its program has been up and running since 2007.
They were telling me how wonderful it was, and I said, Lord, I don't think so. They don't have a place like that that could just take over your life and know that you don't have that worry any longer. And when I started coming, I realized that every word they told me was exactly what they were going to do.
The plan here on the West Bank is to renovate, add, and incorporate the old school, too.
So every time you drive by Barataria Boulevard and you look at this facility and you think about old to new, think about the hearts and the minds and the souls of the elderly on the inside who are feeling renewed by what we're going to be doing here.
In the book of Lamentations, we read, "The favors of the Lord are not exhausted. They are renewed each day." And we are indeed experiencing another of the favors of the Lord today as we gather to celebrate and launch the start of a new endeavor.
It's the start of something new, in something old, a special place for seniors, a place called PACE. I'm Janet Gross for Issues and Faith.
Catholic Charities is an integral partner with PACE, helping with services and funding. And all this will be a $5 million project. Phases 2 and 3 add a clinic and extra services. And once completed, it will serve as many as 400 seniors in the area.
If you have a question for us or have an idea for a story you'd like to see on air, please write to us at Issues in Faith, 3330 North Causeway Boulevard, Suite 345, Metairie, Louisiana 70002, or email us at questions@wlae.com. Plus, if you missed an episode, you can catch up online at www.archdiocese-no.org. And that's our program for this evening. For all of us at Issues in Faith, thanks for watching.
We'll be back next week. Hope you join us again soon. Until then, God bless.